All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Fan Expo. Is everybody having a good time here? Awesome. Well, my name is Mike. I'm one of the owners of School of Rock Vancouver in Langley, and we are here at this panel because we have a real awesome treat for you. So the panel is called From Stage to Screen: Inside the Rise of Vancouver's Next Breakout Performers. And it brings together three young artists who all have roots at the School of Rock Vancouver and who are already working on major stages, theater productions, and professional film and television sets. So what makes this conversation really special is that these performers are not talking about where they hope to be one day. They're talking about where they are already. What they're going to talk about what they've experienced, what they've learned along the way. All three have begun the journey through live performance-based music education, with two currently active students and one recent alumnus whose film work has taken him into film full-time, basically. Yeah. So today's discussion is about the reality behind the highlights, the preparation, the pressure, the setbacks, the surprises, and the growth that comes with performing in real-world environments. So we're going to start with a few quick introductions. I know these guys, you don't know them, so they're going to tell you a little bit about themselves. So let's get started.
Hi, I'm Logan Clyde, but you may know me as my acting name, Logan Pierce. I'm 14 years old, and I've been in Mr. on Mistletoe Lane, Girl That Wasn't Dead, Keeper, The Good Doctor, and most notably, The Last of Us. I'm also a member of School of Rock Vancouver and its senior house band.
There you go.
What's up, y'all? I'm Casey Trotter. I'm 14 years old. I'm an alumni of School of Rock Vancouver. I've been in Theater Under the Stars and a Nickelodeon show, and I'm coming out in Camp Rock this summer. Yeah, it's gonna be pretty sick. Yeah.
Hello, I'm Mya Forrest. I am 14 years old. I have been a part of Theater Under the Stars, the School of Rock production, and I have been a part of School of Rock Vancouver for about 3 years now. It's been a lot of fun. I don't know what my biggest show has been because there's been so many opportunities.
We'll start with Logan at the end there. You were part of The Last of Us, one of the biggest TV shows of the last decade. What was it like walking onto that set for the first time?
Yeah, walking onto that set for the first time, that was pretty surreal. Mostly because I was about to film a show about a pandemic during a pandemic. Walking onto that set, it was the height of COVID. I was COVID tested before I even stepped on a plane, so it's pretty wild, pretty nerve-wracking. But yeah, also the size of that set was absolutely incredible to be on as a little kid. It was only my second ever time on any kind of set, so that was really surprising and shocking for me as a kid. But yeah, everyone from day one was super welcoming on set, all The Last of Us, the cast and crew.
You played a lead role in School of Rock, Theater Under the Stars,
Yep.
at Malkin Bowl. What was it like stepping out in front of the audience of hundreds, doing more of an acting role? You've done performances in front of thousands, but what about that? How was that different?
I wouldn't say it was very different. I'd say School of Rock Vancouver definitely prepared me pretty well. It was a little nerve-wracking on the singing side because I had never done singing before Theater Under the Stars, but School of Rock definitely prepared me real quick. But it was a lot of fun because you also had to trust in your castmates and your bandmates to make sure that everybody had each other's backs. And other than that, yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And Casey was on that same production.
Yep.
All right, so Casey, what about you? So Camp Rock 3, which is coming out this summer.
Yeah.
So you were on that production. That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
It's going to be coming out in the summer. People don't necessarily understand the scale of the production. Was there a moment that you realized, wow, this is a Disney film?
Yeah, a couple of times actually. I'd say one of the most prominent ones was one day we had 174 extras on set, which was pretty crazy. And with that amount of people in such a small space, you really have to choreograph everything you're doing, and make sure the camera is coming in at the right time, and just people are doing flips, playing music, doing such crazy things, and to be able to capture all that on camera is such hard work. We ended up filming that scene for 5 to 7 hours just because it was all one shot, like no different like coverage, and we all needed to like lock in for that like 10 or so minutes. Yeah.
How different is the pressure between a live theater run, because you did Theater Under the Stars, or performing music to a live audience? You've done a lot of that through School of Rock, you know, and a film set like
Yeah.
Camp Park 3, you know, where everything stops and starts.
Yeah. Definitely there's a lot of differences, but there's a lot of similarities. I would say when you're doing live performance, there's a lot of like if you make a mistake, you're performing it to people that are they don't necessarily know like what's happening in the show as it's going on, right? But with film, if you make a mistake, everybody around you has read the script. So if you mess up, then everybody's like, "Oh, you messed up. We have to go again." So there's definitely a part of like, in theater, it's a lot. I wouldn't say easier, but it's a lot more forgiving to mess up than in film. Yeah.
What about The Last of Us? So what's something that completely surprised you there?
Yeah, I was really surprised by the attention to detail on set. So, you know, it was like the largest TV production in North American history. The budget for the show was upwards of 10 to 15 million per episode. For my episode alone, they had $1 million cement wall, a whole fake city of Boston built behind it, and a $7 million crane camera to shoot over the wall. That's all just for the episode alone. But one time I was talking to a wardrobe person in the wardrobe crew, and she was telling me she was behind the wall in the city. She was in an alleyway. She saw these little rat droppings. She was really surprised by it. So she asked the set designer, "Are these real?" And he's like, "No, it's fake." So it turns out they literally painted little sesame seeds to look like rat droppings and scattered them in the alleyways. So like the scope of the set was that big, but that's how much little detail they put into it. And 4.7 million people watched that episode, the pilot episode I was in, on the first day alone. 40 million by the end of 2 months. I doubt anyone was able to pick up on that, you know, that little detail as part of the landscape, but they still did anyway. So that was super, super surprising. I would say film is, yeah, it's a lot more intense. I would say like time is money, right? So, you know, if you're gonna not prepare your stuff, like if you have to do 2 takes instead of 20 because you have your lines memorized and all that stuff, that's gonna save a lot of time for the crew, a lot more efficiency. So there's a lot of pressure for you to be able to do that because they have to get everything perfect on set when they're filming something. But like if you're performing live, like Casey was saying, like in theater or just doing a School of Rock show, it's on the fly, right? You don't have time to, you can't like erase your mistakes, start all over again. You just gotta kind of roll with the punches. So I would say it's a lot more intense to try to do stuff in film for sure.
Yeah, just back to that also, like when you're doing theater also, I feel like it's another hard thing to recover from a mess up or a mistake, rather than trying to fly over it and keep going. Sometimes you do like a really big like stutter or break in your speech, you forget your line, you know, and you have to learn how to recover from that. I feel like that's super intense. Also, like, I feel like they're both super similar ball game, but like back to Logan is saying, like if you're doing a scene that you need to like eat something, if like there's scenes where like people need to eat stuff. Like I had a scene where I had to eat marshmallows, and it was only one, but after like take after take after take after take, you're eating like 2 bags of marshmallows, right? Like on the set of Elf, there was a scene where he had to eat a candy. He ate so many of those candies that he had to go to the hospital, right? Because his glucose levels just shot up. And like, I feel like the repetition is one thing, but also recovering from a mistake is another. So they're very similar.
I'll be honest, when I was on the set of the Christmas movie I did, there was a gingerbread house, and let's just say I had maybe a few too many candies from that, and there was another scene where we had to make cookies, and I ate quite a few of that just for fun. They're pretty chill on set, so, you know, it was fun.
Yeah. When you're on stage, what happens when you screw up? I mean, are you able to recover from that? Like, do you think people notice?
I think for people who really know the songs that you would be performing, say you're doing a cover, those who base their heart and soul off of that song, yeah, they're going to notice your mistake. But as long as you smile, you look confident, you have a positive attitude towards it, and you don't let it get to you, if you keep going, it'll be pretty easy to cover up. And not only that, if you trust in your band and your band trusts in you, it would be very easy to recover from that.
So what did School of Rock do to help you through some of these things or get you ready for it?
Well, for me, first off, I actually started acting when I was 8, and I joined School of Rock 2 years ago, so I kind of did it in backwards order.
Yeah.
But some things definitely transferred for sure. I think when you're working in TV and film, a lot of the time you're working with so many people that are like behind the scenes. You're, used to working people that are not in front of the camera, but they have a lot of important roles to play. And I would find that similar to School of Rock because you gotta work with different instructors at the school to prepare your songs, different volunteers or people doing roles to help with the production on for house band shows, stuff like that. So I think that stuff really transferred over, and also preparation. In film, you really have to prepare your lines and stuff because, like we were saying, time is money. You really need to have your lines right and everything to be efficient on set. And yeah, that really transferred over to School of Rock with learning songs and stuff like that, especially for house band shows.
Yeah, to add on to that, I'd say with School of Rock Vancouver, they definitely help prepare you when it comes to shows. As in, they show you a little bit on how to build up that tech work, and they show you how to set up your instruments, how to make sure that if something does end up going wrong on stage and an adult can't come up and help you, you know how to help yourself, at least to a certain point. That's definitely a big part of what School of Rock helps with, the backstage tech and the backstage shenanigans.
So not just necessarily the music skills itself, you're learning all the other stuff.
Yeah, the practical skills as well, yeah.
Yeah.
Just to go back on what Logan said, definitely preparation. Like, I found this so much on set because you would get like a shot list every single week, and it would be like, you're filming this scene, this time, blah, 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 blah. And with School of Rock, they'd be like, this week you're playing this show, you need to learn these songs. And I feel like that transferred like so much, just being able to, it's like, this is what I need to do, this is the date that I have to get it done for, and then I just do it, I feel like that's something that transferred a lot.
And how do you stay grounded when people start reacting to the idea of success rather than the work itself?
That's a really good question. I'd just say social media. When like the show first got announced, like it was so fun to just watch the numbers go up. I'd hit post on something and you watch the numbers go like up, 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 up. I'm like, oh my god, I'm famous, oh my god, But as time went on, as people started realizing, like, oh, it's a show, it's gonna come out in, like this summer, like we still have a long time. Like the hype went down for it, and so the viewership went down, I would see the views and I'd be like, oh my goodness, they love me, It's like all these people, like, they love me, they love like the idea of me, but it's not that, it's more like they love the idea as me as the character, me as the public figure. Everybody sees like what I can do the best, and when you start running out of things to post, you start posting stuff that's more personal to you, and like people find that like kind of, I'd say like less attractive to like the public eye, because you're sharing stuff that's more vulnerable, sharing stuff that's more like less positive, because like when you're doing that, they want to see like the positive stuff, not the negative. It's all about like social media. It's just a dopamine hit after dopamine hit, and when you're doing something sad, like that's not what people want to see.
What kind of mindset do you try to bring into rehearsals and performances?
I try to have a lot of fun with it. Fun is definitely a big element. If you're not having fun, then your audience isn't going to have fun either. So if you're on stage and you look bored and, oh my gosh, I've played the same song 20 times, can we get new songs? Every audience is going to be a bit different. I mean, you might have your parents in the audience. Shout out to my parents. But every audience is going to be a bit different. You're going to always want to have that same attitude. Hey, new audience, we're going to play this song as if it's the first time we played it, and we're going to play it as positively, and we're going to play like we're super excited about this song. And typically it's pretty true as well. This song never really gets old. But yeah, definitely have a calm, positive, fun aspect of music is definitely great.
On stage or on set, you've got to be the happiest character, but you're having a terrible day yourself. How do you guys manage that? So anybody can take that one.
For me, I fake it till I make it. If I am still having a bad day on stage, when the first song's over, I'm already in a good attitude because I get to play songs that I love playing. I get to play with people that I'm really good friends with, and I get to connect to a new audience every time. So yeah.
For me, definitely if I'm on set and I'm having a bad day, I keep it to myself. I'll talk to people that I trust, like my parents. But really, I don't want to bring the mood of the set down because if we're doing a happy scene, you know, it's like it's Disney, it's like happy. Like you can't bring the bad energy in, or else the bad energy will come out on the camera, you know. As much as some days will suck, because like life is always up and down. Like you gotta stay grounded, because if you're not grounded around other people that want to be, then you're just gonna bring the vibe down.
Yeah.
As a bassist in a high-level band, you're responsible for holding everything together. How do you handle that pressure live?
That's a really good question. I try to think of it as being the bassist, it's really important to make good friends with your drummer. That's just inner advice. I can say that I'm pretty good friends with my drummer. Shout out to my drummer. And yeah, it's definitely, it's very important that you have a lot of fun with your band and trust as well. So if the stakes are getting higher, say you're really stressed out about a show that you're about to play, oh, I have this really big part, and is my band going to be able to hold it together? You got to be able to trust them, and that's definitely something that School of Rock Vancouver teaches you. It teaches you how to trust, it teaches you how to manage your stress, which is very important as well. Yeah.
Oh. Casey, you worked with the Jonas Brothers in Camp Rock 3, so what was that like? Without giving anything away, we're not allowed to give anything away. What was it like working with them?
It was definitely super cool to see them work on set. They're super nice guys, but when they're on the set, like they don't mess around. Like they have their lines down, they have what they need to do, and they go do it like amazing. It was super cool watching them work, and then also being there like at their show like VIP. It was super cool to see them just in their not kind of like working doing their passion moments, you know, like they were just like anybody else. Like they're all dads, and they're just acting like dads, you know. But definitely it was super cool to see them like when they're working, like them just like being locked in, like having everything down.
What skill mattered more than talent once you were there?
It's a really good question. I think patience is huge. Aside from preparation, like I've kind of touched on before, yeah, patience is really big. You know, when you get on set, they want to have eyes on you as soon as you can. You know, you'll get in your wardrobe, you'll get your hair and makeup done. Then sometimes you'll wait in your trailer for 2 or 3 hours for them to set up the next shot and the next scene, and you're going over your little script for the day in your trailer, you know, trying to get your character down. And you have to wait for like hours upon hours just to go get the blocking done, which is kind of like a rehearsal with the shot, and then there might be some other tweaks they have to do. Wait a longer time. So I think patience is really big, because despite you know, the time in between, you know, you getting there and you're really pumped to do your work, and then all of a sudden you've been waiting for hours to do it. Like I was saying, you got to bring that same energy, and you got to stay in character when you're rehearsing your stuff in your trailer. You got to stay in character. You got to have your lines fully down. It can easy to get bored of it or whatever, but you just got to bring that same positive attitude and energy to the group, so your performance and behavior is still good throughout set and on camera.
Did getting your first screen credits actually change anything in your day-to-day life?
Yeah, I would say so. There's a few times, maybe a few weeks or months after The Last of Us aired, I'd be walking out of my hockey games, and people would run up and like want to take a photo with me, and I'm just like, I've got a big hockey bag slung over my shoulder, dripping with sweat, but they would like take a photo with me, and that kind of thing hyped down a bit. But even about a month ago, I was on the bus, and a man was getting up to get off at a stop, and before he walked through the doors, he was like, "By the way, were you on The Last of Us by chance?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Oh my gosh, you did such a good job." And I was like, "Thanks." And that's like 4 years after I filmed the thing. I look a lot different, but yeah. So there's little nice recognition moments like that, but also auditions. They kind of came fast and furious a little while after that, because You know, a lot of people recognize me from the show. Again, millions and millions of people watched it, so I was sent a lot more frequent auditions and like more high-profile things. I would get like Disney auditions and stuff like that. So yeah, I would say the screen credits did change my day-to-day life in a few different ways for sure.
So Casey, your biggest project is not out yet, but how you talked a little bit about staying grounded, but how do you stay grounded when people do not yet fully see what you're working towards? So how much work is it in reality?
I feel like, yeah, a lot of people look at it. I've had a lot of people come up and be like, "Did you just sit in front of a camera and just like sing and dance?" But they auditioned us. They didn't tell us we were gonna be dancing. So we auditioned for acting and singing. And so when I got the part, we were doing like pretty long days rehearsing. And I remember the first day, I drive over and I record my song, and they're like, "Okay, it's time for dance rehearsal." And I'm like, "What?" Because I didn't sign up for dancing. I don't know how to dance. And so for a month straight, every single day for like 4 hours, I was learning how to dance, do these numbers, like just learn like grooves. And I feel like all that work like paid off. It was like a long 3 months of just like, it was a full-time job. We're working like 10 hours a day, like to the limit. We're doing like scene after scene after scene. And sure, like Logan said, it was a lot of like hurry up and wait. But at the same time, we had to do school on the side. So we only had 3 hours a day to do school. So every time I wasn't filming, I wasn't allowed to take power naps. They would drag me into they would be like, "Come to the schoolroom now. We have to get your 3 hours in so you can film more." So it was a lot of work, not with just like doing the actual acting, singing, dancing, but also with just like managing my time, doing my schooling, making sure to like contact my teachers if I miss anything. Like one time, I had to do a really emotional scene and then go do a test. Who wants to do that? But it is what it is, and I feel like a lot of people will see that work pay off when the movie comes out. But for now, I like to stay a bit low key about it.
What is the biggest misconception that people have that are your age that they have about making it in this industry?
I heard a lot of people say that it's all luck.
I'd like to see them try.
Yeah, like it's a lot of people are like, "Oh, well, like you just did this and this and it was all lucky." Like there's people with talent, but it's like a lot of the misconception is like what people hear is like casting directors, like they'll just go like, "Pa, pa, 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 pa. Oh, there's one that I like," But it's also about the specs, like it's sure about the acting, but a lot of the stuff is like if you fit in with the other cast. Like I went a year doing auditions like every single week, and I was putting out pretty good tapes, but I think like really the only reason that they will like skip past you is because it's like if they're looking for someone that's like blonde and blue eyes, like they're not gonna hire me, I'm still gonna go out and go for it, but like at the end of the day, doing that, like, how do I say it? Like doing the work and actually putting out good tapes is hard, Sure, there's luck in the industry. Of course it's luck. Of course it's like, "Oh, I'm the perfect fit for this role. I look like this, I act like this, I talk like this, blah, 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 blah." But at the same time, can you act like this character and look like this character at the same time? Because if I have to be sad and they want the person to cry like this, I'm not going to cry like this. It's just, it won't work, So a lot of it's luck, but a lot of it is skill.
I agree. A lot of people definitely overlook how much effort we actually put into it. Even if we might not be quite the right type that they had in mind, they definitely still look at the talent behind it, and they choose everybody for a very specific reason. So it's not quite all just luck, as Casey was saying. I can definitely agree to that.
Down to Casey's point, you gotta find a way to handle the rejection, like you just got to realize, as an actor, like, again, like the specs, like, you're just not going to fit 99% of the parts. Yeah, and you still got to find a way to portray the character, like you're saying. Yeah, handling rejection, that comes really easily in acting because you don't get 99.9% of the roles. Most of the time that's off specs, so you got to try to keep that in check. But yeah, I think another huge misconception is that it happens overnight. Like the work that is put into this, that stuff is not seen. That that work, those years of practicing your craft, it's not seen. I think Casey is a perfect example. I think a lot of people, when this movie comes out, he's going to be seen as a star, right? And people are going to think he's just come out of nowhere. He's like, you haven't had any like huge roles like this yet, and all of a sudden everyone's going to see this movie and know you, right? But really, I've seen him. I came to School of Rock 2 years ago, and I saw him there in the house band. You were honing your craft, so you've been there for at least 2 to 3 years working on your musical craft. Then you go to Theater Under the Stars with Mya. That's more experience with like the performing side of things, and then a few little roles like in Nickelodeon and stuff that really help with the film side. Now he's got this big part, so people are gonna look at him and think he's an overnight success. That's at least like, I don't know, 3 or 4 years of honing multiple different components of his craft to get that opportunity and to be able to take advantage of it. So that's a huge misconception that all happens overnight.
I really appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Yeah, you definitely have to take the rejection of maybe not being quite the right band, as in if you don't play the right songs, or if you're playing rock and roll and you're being a little too loud, then they might cancel or they might not want you, and you got to be able to be okay with that. Or you also have to be able for you to say no as well. Say if it's not the right opportunity for you, if you cannot do it, you can't put in that many hours, you can't go that far. You got to be able to know your own limits as well, I'd say.
So basically what you guys are saying is there's no lucky break without the hard work behind it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like there is luck built into it, but at the same time, you build your own luck, That's what my dad says. Shut up, Dad.
Smart guy. What advice would you give musicians who feel overlooked because they're not the lead singer or the front person of a band?
As many people would say, never give up your dreams. A lot of people will say that, and I completely stand behind it. I never thought I would quite be here, but then the opportunity presented itself, and I'd say chase after those opportunities. Even when it comes to auditions, for example, when I auditioned for Theater Under the Stars, I didn't know how to sing. I took 2 crash course lessons with School of Rock Vancouver to go audition.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, so I had no clue how to sing, never sang before, and I had to quickly learn in 2 lessons and then get thrown onto a little super tight stage to perform in front of adults that are judging me, and I don't know what I'm doing. So it's a lot of stress, but I just say make sure that you manage your stress, talk to trusted adults, and have fun with it. Take those opportunities. Even if they feel a little scary, you know that you're able to say no if you don't want to do it, but at least have that opportunity and have that choice is what I would say.
All right, so Logan, if someone wants to work in film and TV, what should they start doing now that nobody talks about?
Good question. I would say, I think you just got to put yourself out there. My acting journey started when my mom, shout out Mom, she saw that I was kind of good at like mimicking commercials. So she was like, you might be a good actor. So when I was around 8, I just went to a local agency. We did a little interview. Kind of like my personality, they took me on, and within 2 auditions, I got a role on The Good Doctor. I had absolutely nowhere close to any acting training, experience of any kind, and yet I was able to get that opportunity, get on a role super quickly. They took me on. I was the fastest actor in history, in my agency's history, to get a role. So yeah, I think that's something that any young actor looking to pursue this should do. Just go ahead, put yourself out there, man. Don't be held back by this thought that you have to be some acting prodigy to be able to excel in this. No, just put yourself out there. Go ahead and try. Take up whatever opportunities come your way.
So Casey, what would you tell someone who is waiting for their big opportunity?
A lot of people quit right before they get what they want to get, And a lot of the reason why that happens is because when you're starting out, you will learn so fast because it's all the basics, right? You just like learn, and like the curve just goes like blah, 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 and then it flattens out and you keep going up. And you stop seeing the success come easily. And so people are like, I'm not growing enough, I'm just gonna quit. But a lot of those people, they go up so high that they're like it's like a plane getting to its destination, right? You go up, but you can't go up forever because you have to go down. You have to fly forward, you know? So once that plane does like the easy part, which is like, you're like pulling up, you go up, then you have like the weight, you know, where you're just steering along, and then you can land, and then you can get to your destination.
Awesome. Well, you guys have been fantastic. What did you guys think? Are these guys great?
Thank you very much.
As I'm sitting here listening to them, they're all like 14, 15. No, you're all 14, right?
I'm turning 15 really soon.
15, yeah, okay. So, there's a lot of sage advice here from kids this young, and, I'm really impressed. Actually, at School of Rock, we were really impressed with all three of you and all of our students, but you guys, coming and doing all these different things, it's a proud moment for us to be able to see what you guys are accomplishing. So keep that going. We have time. We've got 3 minutes for some audience Q&A. If anybody has questions, there's a microphone right back there.
My question is, how did you guys find out about get into that opportunity? Like, how did you guys find out about it, and what was the process in that?
Okay, I have something cooking. So I would say, really, I started drumming when I was like 2 years old. And through that, I joined School of Rock. Through School of Rock, I got an email saying, like, there's a theater audition. They're looking for musicians, and they asked us. And I went out, I did the audition, I didn't really expect anything from it. And I got the role. Through that role, I got my agent. And actually, the first audition that I ever did for a film role was for the Thundermans. So it was really just like right place at the right time, kind of moment, you know? Also, I think that's it. Logan, you have anything?
Yeah, well, I did not think anyone was going to be able to one-up me. I had first role and second audition. Good for you, man. Yeah, for me, the Whitecaps thing, that came from performing with the junior house band for years. The Whitecaps people saw, was that Kids Fest, Mike?
Yep.
Yeah. So we did a kind of like 4 days in a row of shows at Kids Fest at Kitsilano Beach. The Whitecaps saw us there, so they asked a few of the members of the house bands there to like kind of just like send in a video of us performing the audition to do a version of the national anthem. So I'm not sure how many people got the audition, but it would have been pretty few because there's only like maybe like 18 house band members in total in both junior and senior. So yeah, I sent in my audition. I wore my Whitecaps jersey, my Whitecaps shorts. I hung up like the scarves and like the poster I got at a game. I hung it all up. My dad helped me with that. Shout out to him. So I showed off, that I'm a diehard Whitecaps fan. So that's what I did. And sure enough, they took me on. We got some information about how it was going to work. We performed at Terry Fox Plaza with the house band before, which was huge. That really helped me like kind of get rid of some of that nervous energy. And yeah, that's kind of the story about it. And then yeah, I went and did that national anthem, and it was absolutely awesome. And I watched the rest of the game with my house band friends afterward. It was awesome.
And the Whitecaps cleaned, like they won.
They won 7-0. That was awesome.
It's probably all because of you, Logan. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming to the panel. Thank you, Logan, Casey, and Mya, for being part of this. And yeah.
Thank
Enjoy.
you, Mike, for organizing this.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your time here at FAN EXPO. And if you want to learn more about School of Rock, you can go to schoolofrock.com. And we actually do have a behind-the-scenes video of the Whitecaps thing that we did.
Yeah, behind the scenes.
So it's all on the School of Rock Vancouver YouTube channel, so you can check that out.
Check
all
it
right.
out.
Thank you so much, everybody. Have a good day.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Rock's coming out this summer.